Squires.
And I'm student meteorologist Michael Anand.
Welcome to FSU Weather. So today we have a series of events going to be happening. We will be talking about the weekly weather, of course, as always, and Nate coming in.
Yeah, right now Nate is looking like it's going to be making landfall in Louisiana, but we'll see. There could be an adjustment. We'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah, it is currently a tropical storm, but maybe hurricane shortly.
Yeah.
We'll see within the next few days, and we'll see if it also comes and reaches us. But we will be talking about that later in different segments.
Yeah.
So we will be having interesting weather coming up.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And we'll also give you the weather for the Miami game, which
Of course.
probably there could be some rain for that, but it's looking like a pretty good game right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
The majority of the rain will be approaching us on Sunday.
Yes.
But for now, it has been pretty nice the past few days. I've been outside. I've been trying to make the most of it. But now we are going to send it off to Matt R.
Thank you very much, guys. The last 24 hours, I know everybody wants to talk about Nate, but let's talk about actually how it's been kind of nice out, a little bit on the warm side, but starting to change the atmosphere out there, making it a little bit cooler, especially with the breeze picking up and some rather nice sunsets, a little bit dry up in the atmosphere too. And of course, everybody's wondering what the Canes game is going to look like Saturday, and we'll have that forecast for you here as well. But right now, satellite and radar showing dry air steadily in place over the Big Bend region and a lot of moisture to our east, and that's all associated with another little tropical entity that we are watching. Not going to affect us here. Could bring some clouds in our region. But tonight's forecast, 73 degrees, cool temperatures if you're feeling that breeze. If you're walking out at night, not too bad out there for what's going on right now. But now the rest of the show, we're going to be seeing tropical storm Nate, rather. Of course, the 3-day forecast, which we will expand coming up later in the show. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. So we are going to be talking about the segment that we started last week, which is the city.
Yeah, so later in the show, we're going to give you the forecast for Maryland,
Yes.
which we selected last week.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the forecast for next week. And we have Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay.
Home of
So
the Packers.
yes, we will be talking more about that next week, and off to Maryland coming up soon.
Yep.
But we will be continuing this segment for the next few weeks. We'll see how it goes. Maybe get all 50 in. We'll see.
It's interesting.
I'm waiting for my home state of Ohio to come through.
Yeah.
But
it'd be nice to have New Jersey in there. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so right now, we're going to send it off to the wall with Jake.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Here we are with today's almanac. Going to give you a little bit more of a detailed look at our local forecast. We reached a high of 88 degrees, so still right above our average here of 84 for this time of year. You're going to start seeing those thankfully cooling down just a little bit here. 94 is our record set back in 1986, and another warm morning, waking up to a low of about 70 degrees here in the capital city. Currently, we're looking at 87 degrees, only about a degree down from our high for the day. Dew points starting to creep up again. You get some of that low-level moisture working its way back into the area, though it's still moderated by the fact that we have this northeasterly wind, currently at 12 miles per hour, blowing over land, bringing some of that drier air still into our region, although you'll see later on that trend is going to be mixing up pretty soon here. Here's the satellite and radar. You're trying to see some storms, coming into the Florida Peninsula here out of the east. This big low that's off the southwest coast of Florida, as well as a strong ridging pattern over the western Atlantic Ocean, really is triggering some of these showers and storms. But nothing has worked its way into our area as of yet. And we're not going to be seeing that really for the rest of the night here. So tomorrow, though, is when we're going to have to start looking at the potential for a little bit of rainfall around here. As for the high temps today, nice and toasty anywhere you look. Valdosta being the low spot at 86 degrees, still above the average over there. 90 degrees still in Bainbridge. Yep, it's still October, and here we are still feeling those summer-like temperatures, although, of course, the humidity is not that terrible. 82 Valdosta, 82 Thomasville, currently just past 6 o'clock here. 87 degrees over in Wilma, so the further west you go, the general trend being the warmer that you see out there. The dew points, again, upper 60s to lower 70s even in some spots. Monticello, Bainbridge, Apalachicola, all at 70 degrees right now. So again, a bit of an uptick from the last couple of days. It might be feeling just a little bit muggier than you've experienced really for most of the week here. And that trend is also going to continue to be increasing along with some rain chances into tomorrow. Here's current winds, mostly out of the east and northeast, 12 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 16 in Mariana out of the northeast, and Apalachicola also a noted high spot at about 14 miles per hour. So if you're going to be planning out the rest of your evening here, shifting to forecast mode, right after showtime here, still a little bit hot out there. Temperatures in the lower 80s here, partly cloudy skies. That trend persists through the entire night. Temperatures staying fairly warm here, still going to be about 75 degrees at midnight here, well after sunset. For tomorrow's forecast, 87 degrees for your afternoon high, a 50% chance of rain, with the primary threat being your typical afternoon style. Thunderstorms just after about 2 o'clock here. A little bit cloudier too, reflecting that increase in low and upper level moisture that we're going to be seeing here compared to what we had over the past few days. Winds are going to be out of the south here at 5 miles per hour, so that shift is really the big cause for that sudden change in rain chances for the 5 days. 50% chance of rain for the Miami game as well here, 89 degrees for the high, and then Sunday is really the day that we're going to be watching for any potential impacts of Tropical Storm Nate, although, as we'll outline later, things are looking just a little bit better for us in terms of long-term outlook for Tallahassee. For now, we'll zoom out to the southeast with Sammy.
Yes, thank you for a look at the local. We are going to take a look at a broader perspective. Look at that, 87 in Tallahassee, being kind of a warm spot for our area, and 79 over in Orlando. So you can see the big difference in temperature, all the way dropping down to 84 in the south. Even if you look a little bit north, we're sitting around 80 over in Atlanta. So we have a variable amount of temperatures going on, but still very warm everywhere you look. We could see a band of showers that are moving up towards our area. So this happened all throughout today, and we will be experiencing more of those showers coming tomorrow. Taking a look at our watches and warnings, we have a coastal advisory, and this is Tropical Storm Nate creeping its way up. So we will be getting hit by that, but not a direct hit. More to come on that. Look at this band of dry air we have moving through our area right now. Further south, it is pretty moist, and that's where all the rain is currently right now. Taking a look at our 3-day in Charleston, not much for tomorrow, only 20% chance of rain, but going into 40% for Saturday and making its way into 50 for Sunday, increasing cloud chances. But going to be fairly warm at night, only 69 for tomorrow night. Nashville, we are going to be experiencing beautiful sun, 87 degrees, but because it is very sunny throughout the day Friday, it will be dropping down to 59 at night, so you may need a jacket if you are spending the night in Nashville. But throughout the weekend, we'll be increasing rain chances once again, 40% to 70% on Sunday. Little Rock, Arkansas, 87 for Friday, 30% chance of rain for Saturday, but back down to 20% for Sunday. We have the lows being around 63 and 65 throughout the whole weekend. So it'll be very pleasant in Little Rock. And Asheville, North Carolina, pretty cloudy tomorrow, but look at that low, 50 for night. So you will be experiencing very mild temperatures. You will also need a jacket if you are going to Asheville for the weekend. And look at those rain chances, all the way up to 70% for Sunday. And the lows will be increasing slightly throughout the rest of the weekend. But now we are going to look at tonight's forecast. Look at that, 75 throughout Tallahassee. And we are going to take it to the lab.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Now, everyone's got the questions of what's going on with Tropical Storm Nate. We've seen this cone was pointing towards us yesterday, and now it is not. It's kind of moving in towards the Louisiana area. So I wanted to take this moment to kind of put your minds at ease, because we've seen a very busy hurricane season so far, and it will likely continue to be busy up until the very end. But take a deep breath, because it looks like this one will likely be skirting us farther to the west, and I'll show you why. here's Nate right now on the visible satellite just as the sun is starting to set. It's a bit onshore, and honestly, to the untrained eye, it's very difficult to actually see where the storm is because it's embedded in this entire feature here in this Central America, known as the Central America Gyre. And this is kind of this just big area of spin, and within that area of spin, you kind of get these little vorticity areas to pop up, one of which happened to form into what our current tropical storm is, Tropical Storm Nate. I wanted to show a few models to put your minds at ease just a little bit more here in the Big Bend region. These are all of the ensemble models for both the European and the GFS, arguably some of the best computer models that we have. And these are all of the different runs within that model, showing us that really the closest approach to Florida is that eastern part of the cone currently sitting over near Walton County and Pensacola. So if it does take that eastern part of the cone, we could see some gusty conditions here, maybe gusts to tropical storm force, if that. A rainy and dreary day likely coming this weekend. But we'll have more on Nate throughout the week. Right now we're going to send it back on out to the studio.
Thanks, Matt. I'm going to take a look at national. So currently across the country, we have this trough across the west giving some cooler conditions to Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and we have this ridge across the east. High pressure is situated over the Carolinas now, and that's giving our east wind down in the southeast, and it's also giving those really warm temperatures ahead of a front in the Midwest. Here's the front right now. It gave a lot of heavy rain to Oklahoma yesterday, particularly outside of Oklahoma City in Norman, Oklahoma. A lot of reports of flooding, and you can see that rain is still persistent over the panhandle of Texas. Now, as we promised, we're going to show you the forecast of Maryland. And so currently over Maryland, we have some clouds and some rain associated with the stalled boundary over the mid-Atlantic. And our current temperatures in Maryland are mainly in the 70s, with 78 in Bethesda, 75 in Baltimore, 73 in Salisbury. And the current dew points were ranging from 59 in Bethesda to 70 in Baltimore. Wonder what that reading came from. Our wind speed and direction, mainly variable, and part of this wind speed is from high pressure situated in the Carolinas to part of the sea breeze from the Atlantic. So for our 3-day forecast for the capital of Annapolis, Friday we're going to have 79 degrees with the lows mainly in the 60s. Saturday we'll get to 81, and Sunday, part of that moisture from a front and starting to get from Nate will increase the rain chances for Annapolis. Pretty similar story for Baltimore, 82 degrees on Friday, 80 degrees on Saturday, as well as on Sunday, with those lows mainly in the mid to upper 60s. For Bethesda, again, same thing, 82 on Friday, 83 on Saturday, and 80 on Sunday, lows in the 60s. And for Cumberland, low 80s on Friday to the middle 80s on Saturday, and lows in the 50s because it's in the Appalachian Mountains. And our water vapor is showing this dry air over North Florida with the moisture creeping up from that tropical low in South Florida. And we have our front situated over the Midwest and also that stalled boundary in the Mid-Atlantic. Watches and warnings, we have our small craft advisory basically across the Gulf and South Atlantic, and you can see those tropical storm warnings creeping up from Nate. Tonight's forecast, very cold in the Intermountain West and pretty warm across the east. Tomorrow, same thing, cooler conditions across the west and warmer conditions in the east with the front situated in the middle of the country. And now we're going to send it off to Sammy with the tropics.
Thank you, Michael. We're going to take a look at our current hurricane season. These are the storms that have impacted us so far, and we are at Nate right now. Still a tropical storm, but maybe by the time it reaches us, it will be a hurricane. Following Nate, if possible, we could have Ophelia and all the way down to Whitney. So we will see what will impact us to come. Hopefully not much. This is the where Nate could be traveling up. This is the low pressure system, all the storms that can move straight up through our area. And Nate is creeping its way up through Nicaragua, and it will start to take form in the Gulf and move its way through towards the northwest. You can see the formation of Nate starting to form over by my hand down here, and the storms that are over in Miami right now. But this will be what is to come in the next 60 hours. And same thing, except for you can see the red down here, and that is the severe weather that will be associated with it. And it will start to move through the Gulf towards, especially towards Louisiana. That's where we are expecting the track to head out right now. And our wind is starting to take form, moving that spiral way, and you can see it start to approach the southern tip of Louisiana. And lastly, to finish off my segment, you can see the cone making its way through. This is what our expected track will be right now as a tropical storm all the way up until Saturday morning. You'll see that first form of the hurricane, maybe hitting us by 8 a.m. Sunday. But now we are going to head it off with the desk.
All right, thanks a lot, Sammy. One of the other things that might be a little bit unsung about Tropical Storm Nate, even as far away as it may be, is its ability to kind of increase the swells around here, get the seas really kicking up. And your local National Weather Service office, they forecast for more than just land. Oftentimes, they are forced to issue these sorts of advisories over the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico, as we're going to outline right here.
Yeah, so currently we have a small craft advisory in effect for all of our local coastal waters. And the reason why that small craft advisory is in effect right now is we have the high pressure, as I said, over the Carolinas, but we also have that tropical low over Florida. And so a small craft advisory, the criteria for it, we have 6 to 10 feet of seas, and it can be as high as 13 feet offshore.
Yeah, we're expecting 20 to 25 knot wind, which really helps to kick those waves up when you're going over a pretty solid distance here. So, of course, this is just another safety measure to make sure any boaters out there are taking it easy out there. For now, though, we're going to go to Matt over in the lab with a look at our trivia question for the week.
All right, thank you very much, guys. It is that time of day, and we're keeping with the tradition with our trivia question. Here's what we've got on tap this week. What is the minimum sustained winds in miles per hour that a tropical cyclone has to have to be considered a hurricane? Here's your options: A, 74 miles per hour, B, 64, C, 110, or D, 39. You can log on to our Twitter account and cast your vote now. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Matt. We're going to go into our little outdoors and event forecast here, starting off with a WeatherStem camera from the University of Miami's Rosenstiel School, of course, our football opponent for the week. A beautiful campus out here in Virginia Key, just south of downtown Miami. But cloud cover kind of hampered their day yesterday, as you would expect with that tropical low Michael was alluding to earlier, bringing plenty of shower and thunderstorm activity to all of South Florida. Now we're going to start talking Florida State sports here, starting off with the men's and women's cross-country teams. They're going to be in action here at Florida State tomorrow afternoon here. 50% chance of rain in the afternoon with a high of 87 degrees, as we've outlined here a couple of times. Breeze still kicking up a little bit out of the east, about 5 to 10 miles per hour here. The football game, obviously, Saturday, 3:30 kickoff, still looking good for that timeline here. Again, taking on 13th ranked Miami, expecting a high of 89 degrees, so another warm and muggy October afternoon here for you. Although, of course, we are not fans of noon kickoffs around here, so seeing the 3:30 is just a little bit better. Winds are out of the southeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour, bringing some of that low-level moisture back into our picture. Swimming going to be up at Minnesota here Saturday at 10 a.m. Morecambe Aquatics Center going to be facing the Golden Gophers here. 80 degrees is going to be the temperature when that gets going. Winds out of the southeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour once again. Women's soccer going to be in Durham, North Carolina, taking on the Duke Blue Devils here. 80 degrees at kickoff here. 40% chance of rain, although skies are going to be a little bit more clear than we're going to be expecting here at Koskinen Stadium over in Durham. We're going to move on from there, talk volleyball. FSU volleyball is in action here against Pittsburgh. This is going to be an indoor game. Our beach volleyball team does not get going until the spring semester, but 84 degrees. The commute there is going to be looking pretty good. Mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the east once again at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Pretty similar to the afternoon hours here around town. And of course, my favorite, the golf index. Matt's finally here for me to give him the shout out. So 3 out of 5 here. Of course, Michael over there too. 3 out of 5 here. Not looking as good as we've had the last couple of days, mostly because of the afternoon thunderstorms that we're going to be expecting. A 50% chance of rain. If you're going to get out there, the morning is definitely better. Winds out of the east from 5 to 10 miles per hour, as we've accounted for a couple of times here. If you're going to be out at the beach, as Michael and I were just talking about, going to be really gusty here. East-northeast wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour, 3 to 5 foot surf really near the beach, but out in the open waters is where things get a little nasty. Small craft advisory, again, is in effect. We could be seeing gusts up to potentially even in excess of 30 knots out there. For the 5-day forecast, once again, 50% chance of rain Saturday, a high of 89 degrees, and Sunday going to be the day. You see that 60% chance of rain, potentially seeing some of the effects of Tropical Storm Nate. Now over to Matt with a look around Florida.
Thank you very much, Jake. Let's look at the Sunshine State forecasts, or lack thereof, Sunshine State in most of the area. Down the peninsula, you see those cooler temperature contours kind of indicated here by the orange. That's really where where the cloud cover, the rain is situated right now, dumping a lot of rain down the peninsula in areas that really don't need it. They saw a lot from Irma. They saw a lot earlier in the year. It's been a very wet year for the state of Florida. Now, what about us up in here in the in the Panhandle? We are looking at that dry slot that is dominating our forecast, has been dominating our forecast for the last few days. And here it is, indicated on satellite radar. It is a soupy mess down the peninsula, heavy rain and strong onshore winds associated with this tropical wave. Now, where is this going to go? Is it going to develop? No, we do not think that. So we can see some coastal flooding, especially along the East Coast. We have a lot of issues with the king tide, which is when the moon is full. Tides are a lot higher than normal, and you have a lot of this onshore flow that's going to be piling the water up onshore and causing some issues for our friends in the coastal communities. This will be starting to move its way out into the Gulf of Mexico ahead of Tropical Storm Nate as it starts to make its approach to the north. Current dew points, a measure of moisture in the air, and you can see that it is showing where the moisture is down the peninsula, 78 degrees in Miami. And this is also something that we look at to see how it feels outside here. If it's starting to turn into the fall, feeling like fall, you know, we always talk about that. When you start to see these dew points drop, then it'll start to feel like fall. Even if the temperature's in the upper 70s, low 80s, if these are in the low 60s or 50s, it'll feel really nice outside. Let's take a look at our futurecast, seeing the rain pouring through, especially near the Melbourne area. That'll start to skirt its way off the coast and into the Gulf, as well as we see some indications of where future Nate could end up in the Gulf of Mexico with that there. Now, let's travel around the state of Florida, see if you are heading out to Pensacola. Look, Friday looking very nice. Your forecast tomorrow, highs only in the mid to lower 80s, and then only a 20% chance of rain. Actually, a really nice beach day. However, the winds will start to get picking up a little bit, so beware of the rip currents out there. Saturday, not looking good at all. Clouds start to move in, 70% chance of rain. And Sunday, that is the icon you're looking at. Tropical storm conditions are possible in the area of Pensacola on Sunday. Jacksonville, we're looking at cloudy conditions associated with that tropical wave, 60% today. That's going to last throughout the weekend. Maybe some hints of sunshine on Saturday, a few more than what we saw today. We're not looking at a complete washout, but Sunday, rain chances come right back up, and the highs are sitting in the mid to upper 80s. Traveling down to Orlando this weekend, if you're not staying in town for the UM game, well, unfortunately, it does look out like a washout there. If you're heading out to any of the theme parks, a hot and muggy one, too, sitting at 90 degrees in Orlando. We'll be watching that forecast for you across the state of Florida. In the meantime, Michael, you're going to look at our local forecast one last time.
Thanks, Matt. This is the final look at our local right now. Yeah, so today's almanac, it was 88 degrees in Tallahassee. We started out in the 70s, a little bit above our average of 84. Our lows are still way above our average of 62. But as we've been saying the last few days, this is not near any of our records of 94 and 38. Current conditions in Tallahassee, 87 degrees. Our dew point is at 67 degrees, and that's going to creep up the next few days with that tropical wave down in Florida and with the approach of Nate. And our winds, they're still gusty with that gradient from the east-northeast at 12 miles per hour. Satellite and radar is showing mainly clear conditions across the Big Bend region, but you can see that influx of moisture coming from that tropical wave down in South Florida. Current temperatures across the Big Bend, 86 in Marianna, 87 in Tallahassee, 85 in Perry, 82 in Valdosta, mainly mid-80s across our region, with the warmer temperatures across the Apalachicola and Carabel. Current heat index is showing 88 in Marietta, 91 in Tallahassee, 87 in Perry. That humidity is starting to tick up a little bit with the approach of that tropical moisture. Current dew points, as I said, those dew points are increasing a little bit. Look at that 70-degree dew point in Bainbridge. So as we go across the next few days, this dew point is starting to increase with the approach of a tropical wave and tropical storm Nate. Current winds, we still have that east wind with high pressure up to the north and with that low down in South Florida. And these winds are still strong with that pressure gradient between the high up to the north and the low down to the south. So tonight's forecast, we're looking at a low of 73 degrees, mainly cloudy. And this is going to be the last night we're going to get any of these nice cool temperatures for a while. And our winds of east-northeast of 5-10 miles per hour. For tomorrow, the morning is going to be pretty comfortable, 73 degrees. We're going to warm up into those mid to upper 80s. And by 4 o'clock, we're going to get about a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms as that moisture starts to increase once again. And the week ahead, as you can see, Friday, 50% chance of rain, upper 80s, Saturday game day, and Sunday we're going to watch what happens with Nate. We're going to send it back to Matt and Jake to wrap up the show.
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. Well, here we are wrapping things up, and a little bit of a different trend here. You see those rain chances really starting to creep back into the picture with the elephant in the room being anything that may happen from Tropical Storm Nate, although, as we've been saying, things are starting to look up a little bit for us around here.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about, well, tomorrow we're showing 50%, but we're still going to hit the golf course, at least try to.
Yeah, afternoon showers and storms, you know, that's kind of what we're accustomed to in the summer. So it's going to be that sort of hit or miss variety that you can be expecting around here. But unfortunately, you don't really see any of those, the fropas, as I like to call them. Cooler temperatures, not exactly something we can be expecting in the next 7 days, but the further and further we get along in this month, the better things are going to be looking on that aspect, at least if you like cold temperatures.
Yeah, usually, halfway through October, it's hot all the way up until that point, and then we finally get a break, usually somewhere around the 20th or so, 15th, somewhere in there. So where we see that first frontal passage, which we are all crossing our fingers, will happen just to kick the temperatures down just a little bit.
Well, for all of us here, when it comes to our social media, we got really everything here. Facebook, Twitter, you can follow us at FSU Weather on either of those. We're now streaming our shows live at youtube.com/FSU Weather as well.
I like that.
What's the thing I always say?
Well, I'm just caught up with the youtube.com live/FSU Weather.
But what about the Instagram?
Oh, the Instagram. We got to put pictures on the Instagram.
Yeah, we really need to use that a little more often, don't we?
All right. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It'll be a Friday. We're playing UM on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan. See you tomorrow.